Hey, welcome back to the Too Fast channel. In today's unboxing and tabletop review, I'm going to be taking a look at a pocket knife. This is made by Kubey. This particular model is called the Drake and carries a part number of KU310F. This is available directly from Kubey's website. It's on sale right now due to Black Friday and the price is $48.30. Normally runs at $69. Now, this particular knife has a G10 handle, D2 blade steel, and it is completely blacked out. So the blade has a stonewashed black finish to it, and all of the hardware is black. They do have this in different variations with different handle colors and different blade colors and so on. So you definitely should check out their website if this particular design is not to your liking. According to Kubey, this is designed by Maxim Tkachuk. Probably not pronouncing his last name correctly, but he's from Ukraine. Uh, and he's designed a few knives for Kubey. So let's go ahead and take a look. This is basically the standard box here. These are made in China. Kubey is a Chinese company, and they have been in business since 2014 making knives. So inside the box, there's a little warranty card and a little plastic bag and the knife. Now, this knife is a flipper, so there's no thumb tab on this particular one. So the action on this is very nice. There's no drag. It quick deployment. It's a liner lock. And one thing, I've got a couple of mid-range knives, and several of them, when I pull them out of my pocket, a lot of times the blade will open on its own. This one, you can kind of see it's got a retention mechanism. It almost feels like there's a magnet that holds the blade down. So you've got to put a little bit of effort into the first part of the flip, and then the blade will just pop right open. This is an excellent design, in my opinion. This may be standard on a lot of high-end knives. I just don't know. I don't own a lot of high-end knives. Most of mine are all kind of mid-range and less than mid-range. And one of the problems I have is with some of them is pulling them out and the blade popping open. I don't think that's going to happen with this. This blade is solid in there, and unless you really pull on it, it ain't going to pop loose. So right off the bat, I like that. This does come already oiled. You can see there's oil residue right there. So it's been assembled and oiled on this ball bearing assembly right there. Like mentioned, everything on this is blacked out. The only thing that isn't is the Kubey logo right there. And on the flip side, you've got, if you can see that, there's a little skull logo that says Max. That's the designer's name. And then right there, you've got D2 to designate the tool steel that this blade is made out of. The pocket clip is anodized black, and it is reversible. There's no tools that come with this, so you'll have to provide your own Torx and or hex keys. I think these are Torx. And you can remove those two bolts and move the pocket clip over to the other side if you so desire. The G10 handle has got some texturing to it, so it's not aggressive texturing, but it's not slick either. So if it gets wet, it shouldn't be slipping out of your hand. Now, my hand size would be considered small. I wear small gloves. You can see I've got plenty of space to grip this. There is some cuts right there for your thumb to rest to assist with cutting. So that's nice. Let's see. From what I also can tell, I've got a couple of low-end knives, and the blade is not really centered between the two handle halves. This one is definitely perfectly centered, so there's no drag when you go to open the blade. I've had that problem on a few inexpensive knives where the quality control was just kind of poor, and it almost seemed like there needed to be a spacer installed on the pivot point to center the blade better, and that should never leave a manufacturing facility like that. But this Kubey is absolutely perfectly centered, so there's no drag at all when you go to flip it open. So that's solid. Now these Kubeys have a limited lifetime warranty also, which is good. Let's see, what do we got for some specs here? So the full length on this is 7.87 inches or 20 centimeters, and the blade length is 3.46 inches or 8.8 centimeters. That's one of the reasons I chose this. In the United States, or at least in Washington State where I live, all of the different cities seem to have different regulations for pocket knives. Some cities, you can have a blade length of 4 inches. Some, it can only be 3 inches. Uh, some, the maximum is 3.5 inches. So it's really hard to stay on top of. You could just be driving from one city to another, and all of a sudden now the pocket knife you're carrying is illegal. It's kind of ridiculous, but pretty much around where I live, anything under 3.5 inch for a blade length is okay. This is 3.46 inches. That's why I went ahead with this one. The blade width is 1.22 inches or 3.1 centimeters. Blade thickness is 0.12 inches, 3.1 millimeters. The finish on this blade, like mentioned, is a black stonewash finish. There are other finishes available for this blade off of their website if you don't like this all blacked out look. The blade material is a D2 steel, and according to Kubey, they source all of their high quality steels directly from the USA, Europe, and Japan. So it sounds like they're not using any D2 steel or any of the other steels that are produced in China. At least that's what it sounds like. The blade treatment, it's a bead blasted blade. The hardness is rated at HRC 59-61. The blade grind is flat. It's liner lock, of course, G10 handle material. The pivot cap is stainless steel. The washer material is a ceramic ball bearing. Screw material is stainless steel. Clip material stainless steel. Total weight is 3.64 ounces or 103 grams. Now, all of these knives, from what I understand with Kubey, they are all built in-house. They have the manufacturing facilities in-house. They have the wire EDM precision cutting tools, CNC high-speed engraving, laser engraving, milling, CNC grinding, low tempering furnaces, and so on. Now they have a wide selection of knives with blade materials, Bowler, M390, S30V, S35VN, S90V, 20CV, AUS-10, D2, 14C28N, and Damascus. Lots of different handle scales, titanium 6AL4V, carbon fiber G10, micarta, copper, aluminum, wood. For their high-end blade materials, CPM 3V, CPMS 30V, CPMS 35VN, CPMS 90V, CPM 20CV, M390, CPMS 110V. So they've got a lot of high-end steels, and I don't I don't claim to be a expert with blade steels. So I kind of go with the flow, and D2 happens to be a steel that's been around for a while. It's like mentioned, the positives are really good at that price point for this particular steel. And since this is my first one, it'll be interesting to see eventually when it gets to the point of sharpening, how much effort I have to put into sharpening, because that seems to be the challenge is getting a good edge on these. So I may have to get a better sharpening stone for this particular knife, but I'm looking forward to that. So anyway, that's pretty much all of my talking points that I have for this particular knife. For reference, D2 steel is used by a lot of companies: CJRB, CRKT, SOG, Kershaw, K-Bar, Ontario, Benchmade, and so on. So you've got a lot of decent manufacturers that are using D2 steel. And I think that's pretty much everything I have to talk about for this particular knife. The link will be in the description. If you're curious, check them out on their website. Most of their knives, even their knives with the high-end steel, are reasonably priced compared to some of the other manufacturers that I've looked at. And I'm definitely not disappointed at this price range. Absolutely no doubt this is going to be my go-to EDC knife from this point forward. And, I'll probably do another video later on after I put it through its paces and spend some time uh, with cutting chores, and maybe even after I end up getting to the point where I need to sharpen it, I'll cover my trials and tribulations about getting a good edge on this when it comes time to do that. So that's pretty much going to wrap up this tabletop review and unboxing of the Kubey, I can't, hard for me to say that sometimes, Kubey uh, Drake with the D2 steel, part number KU310F. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.